As a physical therapist, I think all of us should be on a regular strengthening program. When it comes to lower body strengthening, I'm a big fan of squats. Now this is when it gets interesting. I've heard all sorts of things. Oh, I can't squat, I have knee arthritis. My chiropractor said squatting is like the worst thing that I can do for my knees. I hate squats, they're the worst exercise ever, and I'm never gonna do them. I have bone on bone in both my knees and in my hip. I'm not gonna squat. Well, in this video, I'm gonna tell you what I tell my clients about squatting, how I do think it's important. There is a place for it in your program, and I'll tell you why. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Debut Physical Therapist from Integrated Physical Therapy in Bellingham, Washington. On a side note, it's a good day. Today is my 55th birthday. The reason why I think the squat is such an essential exercise to strengthen is because we can't get through our daily life without squatting in natural movements. Think about getting up and down off the toilet. Think about getting out of a chair. Those are all squats. Remember, the poison is in the dosage. For some of my clients where squatting is painful, I'll tell them, look, I just want you to do 10, because if we don't do 10, then it's going to get to a point where you're going to need help getting out of a chair. You're not going to be able to sit into a car that has a low car seat. So these are very functional things. Lunging, for example, we can go through our entire life without having to lunge again and be fine. But tell me, how do you function in your everyday life without squats? When I'm in the clinic, I go through a sequence of activities with my clients, and I'm going to walk you through it. What I'll ask my client to do first is come to the edge of the chair, fold their arms across their chest, bring their nose over their toes, and then go ahead and stand up. And I just want to see if they can stand up out of the chair without using their arms. Now, some people can, and other people don't have the leg strength to get up from a low chair. So then what I'll do is I'll put a couple cushions on the chair. I'll have them sit down and now do the same thing. Now all of a sudden it's a little bit easier for them to get up because they have a little cushion or a riser on that chair. And this may be where they start from. Now, let's say, for example, someone has pain in their knees when they're still doing that. Well, then they need to not come down as far. So then what I'll do is I'll put another pillow on here. A couple things to look out for, whether you're squatting with a chair or you don't need a chair, is that you don't want the knee to collapse in. So in this example, I'm going to have my right knee get to a certain point and then collapse in. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but what will happen is you'll see that knee cave in. When you're first learning to squat, especially if you're doing this at home, if you can, do it in front of a mirror. And the moment you start to feel like that leg is tracking in, then that's as low as I want you to go, whether you have pain or not, because what that's telling me is that you've got a little weakness in your hip. So you're going to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to squeeze your glutes nice and tight. You're going to stand up tall. You're going to drive your hips back and straight up again. And drive your hips back and back up again. And be mindful that that knee is not collapsing in, because that's a real common dysfunction or a real common adaptation that I see when people are squatting because of hip weakness. I'll have them come up to the chair, fold their arms, and then sit down. And then stand up again. And sit down, and stand back up again. Now, at some point, they're going to be able to do a partial squat and back up again without having any type of knee or hip pain. So then what you'll do is, that's your starting point. Now, I have some clients that'll still have trouble getting up, even with a couple cushions on the chair. So in that situation, you'd want to use your hands just a little bit to help get you up, and just a little bit to help get you down. But I want the majority of the work with your legs. Maybe what you could even do is just use one hand for a little bit of a push to help get your legs stronger. For my clients that don't have any knee or hip pain while they're squatting, what I'll have them do is use enough weight so they can do 3 to 4 sets of anywhere from 8 to 15 repetitions in order to improve lower extremity strength. However, let's say you do have some knee pain with squatting. I would still recommend doing some squats, but not as many, and to use a chair and some cushions to make it a little bit easier. Once you've figured out the right height where you can stand up out of a chair with your arms folded, just using the strength of your lower legs with the least amount of pain. Now, ideally you have no pain, but even if you do have a little bit of discomfort, I would still have you probably do one set of 10 to 15 repetitions daily. The idea is that we're not doing so many as to irritate the joint, but what we're also doing is saying, look, I need to be able to get myself up and down out of a chair, up and down off the toilet, so I do need to have some level of strength, and as I'm getting older, I don't want that to diminish, so I am going to work on this with the appropriate props, and then hopefully I can figure out a way to where it's like, you know what, there's the least amount of discomfort, but I'm still feeling some strain and some positive changes in the lower leg. As you get stronger and can tolerate more reps, then what I'd recommend doing is 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions, but like I said, using props and pillows if you need to. All right, everyone, hopefully I have convinced you about the importance of having some number of repetitions of squats in your regular exercise routine. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next video.